more peaceful and harmonious environment? Some people are busy with their small families, working themselves to exhaustion. In the end, who remembers their grandfather? Which family can remain prosperous for generations? A lifetime of busyness for the sake of family might end up bringing not joy and happiness to future generations, but rather pain and misfortune. And what about the husband-wife relationship? It can dissolve at any time. There's no husband whose death would cause his wife to be unable to live, and no wife whose death would drive her husband to jump off a building. A home is a shackle, a cage, but people are deeply trapped in it, with no way out. Today is the era of the internet. Many people are busy online all day, writing articles, making comments, but they haven't thought that these are all fleeting like smoke. Some articles remain online for only a few hours before disappearing. Do we still hope that people will return to read those articles? Other than reading them ourselves, who has the time to go back and read? Every day, there are new articles to read. Who still reads outdated ones? Moreover, most articles do not bring truth, goodness, beauty, and love to people but rather anxiety, trouble, distress, and confusion. They create hatred and expose falsehood, evil, ugliness, and resentment, which is no different from garbage, except that this is cultural garbage, spiritual and mental garbage. Some people are busy making friends, attending meetings, gatherings, banquets, birthday celebrations, housewarming parties, weddings, and funerals. Is this joyful or sorrowful? The more worldly people you associate with, the more distress you will have. Is it really necessary to be busy with all this? Some people are busy learning knowledge, reading books and magazines, attending various classes and exams, which is very hard work just to make a living. I wonder, in ancient times, people didn't have so many opportunities to acquire knowledge, and they didn't have as much knowledge as we do today. But does that mean they lived unhappy, unfulfilled lives? There are some people whose busyness is indeed valuable because they are busy pursuing truth, goodness, beauty, and love. From this, they gain wisdom, true joy, and happiness, and they elevate the quality of their life. They not only fully enjoy the pleasures of life while they are alive, but also lay a foundation for a beautiful future life. Jesus taught us, what good is it to accumulate wealth on earth? Accumulate treasures in heaven. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. This kind of busyness is the only busyness that is truly valuable. Pursuing truth, goodness, beauty, and love is walking on the way of the greatest creator. We should constantly ask ourselves, what am I busy with? 孕育时间越长，果实越香. The longer the gestation, the sweeter the fruit. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. There's a folk saying, peach trees take 3 years, apricot trees take 4. But if you want to eat walnuts, you'll need to wait 18 years. This means that a peach tree bears fruit 3 years after being planted, and an apricot tree after 4 years. But to taste a walnut, you'll have to wait through 18 springs and autumns for the tree to bear fruit. The more valuable something is, the longer it takes to gestate. In Journey to the West, it is recorded that the ginseng fruit in the Wuzhuang Temple takes 3,000 years to bloom, another 3,000 years to bear fruit, and yet another 3,000 years for the fruit to ripen. If one could eat a ginseng fruit, they would live for 47,000 years. In the Queen Mother of the West's peach garden, the peaches in the front garden ripen once every 3,000 years. Eating one grants health, lightness of body, and immortality. The peaches in the middle garden ripen once every 6,000 years. Eating one grants eternal life and the ability to ascend to heaven. The peaches in the back garden ripen once every 9,000 years. Eating one bestows longevity equal to that of heaven and earth. People who are impatient to taste the fruit will never experience truly delicious fruit. If you sow the seed today and expect to eat the fruit tomorrow, that's called impatience. Some people don't even want to sow seeds and instead plot to get, deceive, steal, or rob the fruits of others' hard work. While there may be a chance of success in this world through such methods, and the lure of success without effort can tempt many to follow suit, the fruits they obtain this way will not be sweet and are likely to be toxic. Some people study Buddhism for 3 days and then expect to become a Buddha. When they don't achieve this in 3 days, they switch to studying the Bible. Before they even understand the basics of the Bible, they start preaching, But when they can't answer others' questions, they either stubbornly insist they're right, quoting a few lines from the Bible to show their steadfast faith, or they abandon the Bible altogether and never think about it again. These people only skim the surface and never grasp the true essence, and in the end, they might even dismiss the classics as useless. Entering a path is deeper than the ocean, and only those who immerse themselves in it can obtain the ocean's fruits. The problem is that few people are truly devoted to their studies, while many just skim the surface, seeking fame and fortune. This is the underlying cause of the restlessness in our current era. Tang Monk endured 81 hardships over 19 years, walking more than 50,000 miles to retrieve the Buddhist scriptures from the West. Through this long gestation period, he finally achieved true results and tasted the sweet fruits. Do modern people still have this kind of perseverance? They are unwilling to do even one day of voluntary work, always calculating immediate gains. If they don't see benefits within a few years or even a few months, they become discouraged and agitated, either giving up or cursing themselves for being foolish. In the past, there were disciples who could loyally follow their master for a lifetime. Do such disciples still exist today? No, people nowadays are practical, and no one wants to be foolishly loyal. However, faith can move mountains. Those who truly obtain the sweet fruit are the foolishly loyal ones like Tang Monk. There was once an eccentric man who gave an honest man a tree seed, telling him, "This is a seed I stole from the heavens. It will grow into a towering tree and will eventually bear fruit worth more than gold. Take good care of it." The honest man was overjoyed and planted the magical tree in fertile soil, tending to it day and night. A year passed, then another. The sapling grew to the height of the eaves, with lush green leaves, but it neither bloomed nor bore fruit. The honest man began to grow impatient. After 2 more years of waiting, his neighbors started mocking him. Some called him foolish, some said he was stupid, and others said he was mad. "You've been bewitched by a madman's words. There's no tree that bears fruit worth more than gold. You've been duped," they jeered, "wasting your time tending to a tree every day like a madman." The honest man felt deeply hurt, but he couldn't bear to give up, so he decided to wait a little longer. 6 more years passed, and still, the tree bore no fruit. His reputation as a fool had spread far and wide. One day, his patience reached its limit. Thinking of the 10 years of hard work and wasted time, he became furious and angrily raised an axe to chop down the tree. 2 years later, the eccentric man returned and asked the honest man, "Where's the tree?" The honest man, fuming with rage, shouted, "You're a big liar. I tended to that damn tree for 10 years, and it never bore any fruit, so I chopped it down." The eccentric man sighed and said, "You were too impatient. That tree needed 12 years to bear fruit. This year would have been its fruiting period. The fruit was the fruit of life, and eating it would have allowed you to ascend to immortality. What a pity, what a pity." With that, the eccentric man disappeared in a puff of smoke. Many miraculous fruits have vanished from the earth forever due to people's lack of faith and their eagerness for quick results. What a pity. Truly, what a pity. Life Genuine holds the secrets of life. Want to obtain them? Then, carefully cultivate the Life Genuine tree. 给生命增值. Adding value to life. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. In society, there is a common phenomenon. When someone moves to a new place for work or life, having a letter of introduction from a famous person or an important department can command immediate respect, making things easier. For instance, if you present a letter from the president's office, not only will ordinary people be impressed, but even a governor might show deference. Conversely, if your letter is from a local neighborhood office, you might not even get a meeting with the county chief, let alone the governor. Similarly, if you display a photo in your living room of yourself with President Bush or Bill Gates, people will view you with greater respect. However, if the photo is with a criminal, people will likely keep their distance, treating you with caution. This approach is a way to add value to one's life. The person hasn't changed, but with eye-catching packaging, others assume the content must be valuable. Just as an ordinary product's price can increase dramatically with exquisite packaging, a person in society can benefit from effective self-presentation. Good presentation not only enhances one's image, but also makes tasks easier. During my travels in China, whenever a taxi driver asked where my child was studying and I mentioned he was attending university in the United States, their attitude and tone would noticeably shift, as if my status and value had suddenly increased, allowing me to project a more dignified demeanor. Is this superficial? Not at all. The secular world thrives on such things. In fact, truthful self-presentation can not only enhance one's appearance, but also has a profound psychological impact, subtly increasing one's self-worth. Every time I think of friends like Taiji Celestial, Foshan Celestial, Penglai Celestial, and Tianshan Celestial, I feel a surge of pride and see myself as someone remarkable. Some people value the packaging more than the product itself. Is the packaging worthless? If Xiefeng becomes internationally renowned one day, my packaging will become very valuable. A certain Chanyuan Celestial might proudly say, Xiefeng is my close friend. I can call him anytime. Appropriate self-presentation truly makes a difference. Why not embrace it? Adding value to one's life is about enjoyment. Life is essentially a game, so why not play it to the fullest? Only a fool would be overly serious and devoid of any sense of fun. However, if you can add value to your life, the significance becomes much greater. St. Peter and St. Paul were different from ordinary people, as were Guanyin Bodhisattva and Manjusri Bodhisattva, because of their special relationships with Jesus and Shakyamuni. Thus, their lives were imbued with greater value. Adding value to life goes beyond mere self-presentation or having fun. It's about enhancing the quality of one's life. Even the finest gem won't shine without being cut, polished, and refined. Even the best ivory won't become a masterpiece without careful carving. A blank sheet of paper has little value, but when a master artist paints landscapes, birds, and flowers on it, and adds deeply meaningful inscriptions, its value increases significantly. Anyone who has undergone the spiritual transformation of Life Genuine, whether they acknowledge it or not, has increased the value of their life. This is because their way of thinking has changed, leading to a transformation in the form of their life. Such a change is a sign of added value. Someone passionate about political commentary, once exposed to Life Genuine, may lose interest in it. An atheist who reads Life Genuine's writings might question their old worldview and life values. A religious devotee or a political party member who engages with Life Genuine will likely reflect on their beliefs. Someone skeptical about the future of life, after entering Life Genuine, will develop hope and anticipation for the future. If you believe you are valuable, you are. If you believe you are worthless, you are. A confident person can generate boundless spiritual strength. Someone aiming to change the world will find their wisdom suddenly emerging. A person striving to become a master will experience extraordinary inspiration. Someone with an infinite longing for life will surely find a true guide. One must become the architect and builder of their future life, actively seizing every opportunity to expand their knowledge. Avoid missing any divine opportunities. A foolish person clings to outdated practices, is timid and fearful, and prefers to remain in their comfort zone. They may cling to a precarious branch during a flood. When the greatest creator sends a boat to rescue them, they refuse to board. When the greatest creator sends a plane, they still refuse, stubbornly believing that the greatest creator himself will come to save them, with the inevitable result of being swept away by the flood. Some people spend their lives following a path that leads nowhere, yet they close their eyes and dare not try new paths. Others fear reading books with new ideas and new thinking, worried it might shatter their fragile beliefs. Such individuals, in the end, can only weep over their own missed opportunities and fail to add value to their lives. There is no fixed method or eternal remedy. If someone doesn't dare to associate with today's great minds, what progress can they make beyond muttering to themselves and whispering in secret? Some people don't understand the concept of truth, but still pursue it. Isn't that like a blind man lighting a candle to no avail? Where will you find the truth? Who wants to add value to their life? Enter Life Genuine, the only place of its kind. Don't wander aimlessly. The ship of life is at your doorstep. If you still refuse to board, don't blame the greatest creator, Jesus, or Shakyamuni for being unkind or unmerciful. 健康的秘诀, the secret to health. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. Humanity spends enormous amounts on preventing and treating diseases. Yet, no matter how advanced our medical technology becomes, we cannot prevent illnesses from occurring, nor can we stop the death of our physical bodies. In the chapter of Unconventional Thinking, I posed a question. Why don't wild animals train their own doctors? In the Elementary Health Preservation section of the Health Preservation chapter, I discussed 8 factors that lead to the weakening and death of living beings. Today, I will explain the secret to health. First, let's consider people with disabilities. We must ask, why do they become disabled? Is it merely due to factors like war, car accidents, plane crashes, medical errors, unfortunate falls, or fires? And when we look at people who frequently fall ill, we must also ask, why are they sick? Some people rarely get sick throughout their lives, while others are plagued by illness. What is the cause? Farmers know that seeds must be carefully selected for planting. The largest and fullest seeds are chosen for the next year's planting to ensure a good harvest. If the seeds are not full and plump, the crops will not grow well. For plants like beans, cucumbers, watermelons, and gourds, the seeds must be taken from the fruits closest to the stem, not from the ones farthest from it. Seeds near the stem will grow into plants that flower and bear fruit early, making efficient use of nutrients and time, leading to a good harvest. In contrast, seeds from the fruits far from the stem may produce plants that only grow long vines, taking a long time to flower and bear fruit. This not only wastes a lot of nutrients, but also delays the harvest, making it difficult to achieve a good yield. Now, think about why different flowers like peonies, roses, chrysanthemums, and crabapples are distinct from one another. Or why peach trees only produce peaches and apricot trees only produce apricots. Why do poplars grow straight while fruit trees spread out like showerheads? Why do beans twine as they grow? The answer is simple. Different life forms have different genetic structures or different life structures, which lead to different life forms. The issue lies here. The life structure determines the life form. Factory mold makers understand that if a mold has a defect or flaw, all products made from that mold will bear the same flaw. To create flawless products, the mold itself must be flawless. Similarly, to maintain good health, the body must have a flawless life structure. Suppose someone falls while building a house, breaks his leg, and ends up with an amputation, or someone encounters a car accident and loses a leg. The root cause isn't carelessness or bad luck. It lies in a flaw in his life structure. Once this flaw exists, his leg is destined to be lost, whether by a fall, a car accident, a fire, disease, assault, or snakebite. In any case, his leg is doomed. If it's not amputated from a fall, it will be lost in a car accident. If not burned in a fire, it will be paralyzed by disease. If not broken by someone, it will be bitten off by a snake. In short, his leg cannot be saved. Likewise, any disease, whether it's heart disease, arthritis, cancer, or AIDS, begins with a flaw in the life structure. The problem is not with the surface, but with the essence. If a person's life structure is perfect, they will not fall ill. Whether it's the flu, the Black Death, SARS, or bird flu, they will remain unaffected. They also won't encounter accidents like car crashes or plane crashes. Even if they do, they will survive unharmed. A simple observation reveals a pattern. People who frequently fall ill have psychological and mental issues, not physical ones. To maintain a healthy body, one must first have a healthy mind and spirit. Once there are issues with the mind and spirit, the body will soon develop corresponding discomfort or disease. Psychological and spiritual issues can be attributed to problems of the mind, and the mind is closely related to the structure of life. Science has proven that the structure of water molecules is influenced by the consciousness of life around them. When water molecules encounter positive emotions like love, gratitude, and affection, they exhibit a beautifully symmetrical structure. When they encounter negative emotions like hatred, disgust, and irritation, they exhibit an ugly and flawed structure. These ugly and defective structures are flawed structures, and such flawed structures can lead to problems or diseases. What is true for water molecules is true for all matter. The structure of our bodies changes with our mental state. To have a healthy body, we must first have a healthy and perfect soul. A great person once said, "After 40, A person is responsible for their own appearance. Buddhism teaches that during cultivation, one should maintain a compassionate and kind demeanor and posture, showing that the soul is connected not only to appearance but also to the structure of life. The best prescription for a beautiful soul is the teachings of Jesus and Sakyamuni, followed by practicing cultivation in Life-Genuine. As the Life-Genuine era arrives, hospitals will disband and doctors will no longer exist, yet everyone will be healthy, almost like the celestial beings in the thousand-year world. 不要打搅，乐就在其中. Do not disturb, joy lies within it. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. When I was a child, sitting on the ground and playing with mud with my friends, I found joy within it. At such moments, if an adult came over and interrupted, saying that smart children should be reading instead of playing with mud, and that they should stay clean and not get their clothes dirty, it would ruin the fun. For teenagers, idol worship is like playing with mud. Their happiness and joy lie within it. If adults are disdainful and obstructive, it can hurt the pure emotions of these young people and cast a shadow over their innocent hearts. When two people are deeply in love, they find great joy within it. If teachers or elders insist on them being rational, it can prevent the budding of love from blooming at the right time, leading to enormous regret and endless consequences in their lives. A woman with a beautiful figure might enjoy taking nude photos of herself and sharing them publicly. Please don't judge her by conventional moral standards or try to bring her down. She is immersed in her own joy, and many others are thrilled and excited by the beauty of her art. This aligns not only with the original intent of the Garden of Eden, but also with the life of celestial beings in the 10,000-year world of heaven. Some people enjoy seeking thrills, horse racing, playing the stock market, bungee jumping, adventuring, having affairs, or even overthrowing regimes. Please do not interfere. They are finding joy within these activities. Some enjoy writing poetry, playing chess, singing, or fishing. Please do not mock or disturb them. They are finding joy within these activities. Some love politics, some love making money, some love art, and some love philosophy. Please don't pour cold water on them or discourage them. They are finding joy within these pursuits. Some enjoy studying Buddhism, some enjoy cultivating as celestial beings, some enjoy martial arts, and some enjoy mystical arts. Please do not ridicule them. They are finding joy within these practices. Some enjoy getting married, some enjoy being single, some enjoy meditating, and some enjoy hiking. Please do not give unsolicited advice or offer misguided suggestions. They are finding joy within these preferences. If someone is passionate about something, as long as it brings them happiness and does not harm others, they should be allowed to indulge in their passion. Interfering will only bring them distress, leaving them at a loss. Who can say their life is the most perfect or that their path is the most correct? Who can guarantee that their advice will bring joy and happiness to others? What others do not need should not be forcibly given, and when others do not need help, do not insist on being a good person. The mood of a person living in a thatched cottage may be better than that of a person living in a luxurious palace. The body and mind of someone who eats simple food may be healthier than those of someone who indulges in gourmet delicacies. Simplicity is better than complexity, and plainness is more precious than extravagance. A shepherd may understand the wonders and beauty of nature better than a philosopher. What is a successful life? As long as you feel happy and content throughout your life, that is a successful life. Is becoming an emperor a success? Perhaps sorrow lies within. Is having billions of dollars a success? Perhaps trouble lies within. Is becoming famous or holding office a success? Perhaps problems lie within. Is having a different beautiful woman to accompany you every night a success? Perhaps disaster lies within. Is writing 1,000,000 articles a success? Perhaps moral corruption lies within. Good fortune hides within bad, and bad fortune lurks within good. The lotus emerges pure from the mud, while fish perish in clear water. The gates of a wealthy household may conceal the starved dead, while a remote place may give birth to a phoenix. Who can discern this? Cleverness can lead to its own downfall. As the saying goes, the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. A lifetime of humiliation may instead lead to the Buddhist path. A life of poverty may instead lead to the celestial way. Who can comprehend these mysteries? Only those with great wisdom and insight should offer advice or make suggestions, and only those with deep enlightenment should educate or guide others. It seems I must also be cautious. Otherwise, I may not be doing good but instead accumulating karma. As long as you find joy in what you do, I will stand aside, not disturbing or offering poor advice. A gentleman's word cannot be taken back, no matter how fast the horse is, as Wei Xiaobao famously said. 客观世界是主观意识的反应. The objective world is a reflection of subjective consciousness. Xiefeng, September 22, 2005. Translation edited by Qin Yu. In the face of the myriad phenomena in the vast world, i.e., objective reality, human beings are always in a passive position. This passivity arises from a reversal of the primary and secondary relationship, mistaking the subject for the object and the object for the subject. In reality, the subjective is the essence, and the objective is the external manifestation. However, people tend to treat the subjective as the objective and the objective as the subjective. This inversion of primary and secondary is akin to putting the cart before the horse, leading humanity to display a passive consciousness in the face of nature. This negates the proactive role of human consciousness, resulting in the attribution of all human misfortunes and sufferings to nature, while ignoring the positive and negative effects of one's own consciousness. This, in turn, provides a self-soothing excuse for one's misfortunes and suffering. I have a copy of the Modern Chinese Dictionary at hand. Under the entry for consciousness, it defines, consciousness is the reflection of the objective material world in the human brain. It is the sum of psychological processes such as sensation and thinking, with thinking being the advanced form of reflection unique to humans. Existence determines consciousness, and consciousness, in turn, acts upon existence. This explanation is entirely inverted, placing humans in a passive position, leading them into a state of confusion and trapping them in an abyss of darkness with no way to find light. Under such erroneous guidance, people can only resign themselves to fate, placing their hopes on gods, Buddhas, or great figures, expecting a savior to rescue them. They forget their own subjective initiative and fail to realize that they themselves are their own saviors. In other words, while one is originally their own savior, they now view external things as their savior. This is the root of human suffering and misfortune. The correct understanding of consciousness is that it is a manifestation of the non-material structure of a spiritual being, a self-nature Tathagata. It is a thinking activity that proactively creates the objective world. The objective world is the result of subjective consciousness. Consciousness determines existence, and existence, in turn, acts upon consciousness. The principle may seem profound and difficult to understand, but upon careful reflection, profound truths become simple and easy to grasp. Let's first consider the Thai ladyboys. Thai ladyboys are males who feminize themselves. Some ladyboys are as beautiful as celestial beings, captivating with their every movement and smile, surpassing even the most beautiful women. How is this possible? The key lies in the proactive role of the ladyboy's consciousness. If a man consciously and persistently studies and mimics women, continually imagining himself as a woman, over time, under the influence of his consciousness, not only will his speech and behavior become feminine, but his personality traits and even his physical and psychological characteristics will gradually change towards femininity, ultimately transforming him into a ladyboy. Why is it said that after the age of 40, people are responsible for their own appearance? Why do enlightened beings have compassionate and kind expressions? The reason lies in the positive role of self-consciousness. In other words, the objective reality is a reflection of subjective consciousness. Whatever subjective consciousness exists, so will the objective reality. Why are Americans wealthy while Africans are poor? On the same planet, under the same sun, where does the difference lie? The root cause lies in consciousness. Whatever subjective consciousness exists, so will the objective reality. It is not existence that determines consciousness, but consciousness that determines existence. People with cheerful personalities are generally healthy and long-lived, while those with narrow minds are generally more prone to illness and shorter lifespans. This is primarily due to the influence of consciousness, not diet and environment. Under the same conditions and environment, some people's homes are clean, tidy, refreshing, and comfortable, while others' homes are messy, chaotic, and foul-smelling. Where lies the reason? Again, it's the influence of consciousness. Whatever consciousness exists, so will the reality. Should we still blame heaven and earth? We should not complain about the greatest creator. We should change our consciousness. The objective reality is the product of one's own subjective consciousness. Some may argue that those born into poor families or with congenital defects, are these objective realities also caused by subjective consciousness? The answer is 100% caused by one's own subjective consciousness. Do not blame your parents, do not blame the greatest creator, do not blame society, and do not blame nature. This requires tracing back to your consciousness in previous lives and even further back, meaning that the consciousness of your past lives has led to the objective reality of this life. There is no error in the teachings of Jesus and Sakyamuni. What is the purpose of our cultivation and practice? It is to change our consciousness. If a person has the consciousness of a pig, they will inevitably end up in a pigsty, keeping company with pigs. If a person has a mentality inclined toward theft, they will inevitably associate with thieves. If a person has the consciousness of a Buddha, they will naturally be born into the Buddha's land in the next life. If a person has the consciousness of a super-celestial being, after the death of their physical body, they will surely go to the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world. This is very simple common sense. What is so difficult to understand about it? Some may consider this superstition, but my dear comrades, this is not superstition. Superstition is something that cannot be clearly explained, but I can explain all of this to you in detail. Watching you not walk the great way of life, but blindly rush about, wasting your precious time, my heart aches. While I am still in this world, you should seize the opportunity to cultivate and practice. If you cannot accept that I am the incarnation of Jesus and Sakyamuni, it's fine to regard me as a dung beetle, a rotten egg, or even a demon or ghost. The key is whether what I say makes sense. If it does, then what are you waiting for? If the greatest creator sends a boat to pick you up and you refuse to board, or if the greatest creator sends a plane to pick you up and you refuse to fly, do you really think the greatest creator will come to pick you up personally? Just weigh how important you are, and you'll understand. 突破围墙意识. Break through the consciousness of walls. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qinyu. Creation has destined the snail to travel with a heavy shell on its back. Most mollusks have protective shells. The softer they are on the inside, the harder their exterior. The harder they are inside, the softer their exterior. Humans exhibit a similar phenomenon. Those who are harsh and domineering with their wives and children at home, or aggressive with siblings, neighbors, and friends, tend to become weak and submissive when they travel far from home. Conversely, those who are meek and gentle with their loved ones often display courage and strength in front of strangers. People who are adept at internal conflicts within their own circles are often humble outside, while those who attack their own compatriots, nation, or country often appear very compliant and docile in front of foreigners. The less attractive a person feels, the more they tend to package themselves. The poorer one's economic situation, the more they are inclined to wear branded clothes. The less powerful one is, the more they like to put on airs. The less wise one is, the more they pretend to be profound and broad-minded. The less capable one is, the more they flatter and ingratiate others. The weaker one's inner self, the more they tend to fortify and isolate themselves. The narrower one's mind, the more they defend themselves. In front of my house, there used to be a wire fence surrounding the largest golf course in Harare. Inside the course, there were lush green grass, gentle slopes, and a vast, open view. From the outside, the view inside was beautiful, and from the inside, the outside scenery was equally picturesque. However, a month ago, things suddenly changed. A wall was erected around the golf course. Now, those outside can no longer see the scenery inside, and those inside can no longer see the scenery outside. The expansive view became narrow in an instant, with the cold, gray wall now dominating the sight, creating a deep sense of oppression. I remember 10 years ago when the walls around homes were low. Some even had no walls at all, using plants and vines to surround their yards instead. Some only use steel bars or wire mesh, allowing pedestrians outside to fully enjoy the unique beauty of each household's garden, appreciating the flowers and plants, and watching the playful dogs and cats inside. The people within the yards could freely take in the scenery outside, effectively expanding their own space and extending their view to infinity. But now, every household has high walls, and these walls are often topped with barbed wire. The gates are made of thick black iron plates, sealed tightly without a crack, completely isolating the inside from the outside. By blocking others, one also blocks oneself. By limiting others' views, one also limits one's own. Closing the doors and windows prevents the entry of sunlight and fresh air. By not opening one's heart, one rejects opportunities for communication with other beautiful souls. Cleverness turns into folly. The more one defends, the more confined they become. The more one emphasizes safety, the less secure they feel. The vastest ocean accommodates the most rivers, and the most open heart is most likely to give birth to the greatest thoughts. Those who do not reject diverse diets have the strongest bodies. The person who receives the most love is the one who selflessly gives their love to as many people as possible. The moment you feel great and extraordinary is precisely when you are at your smallest and most useless. When you feel wise and profound but your heart is arrogant, that is the moment when you are most ignorant. When you hide your emotions and thoughts, believing you have acquired valuable treasures, it is when you are actually harboring rotten and foul garbage. When you are desperately trying to protect and defend yourself, setting up defenses everywhere, that is the moment when you are at your weakest, most troubled, and most bored. A lamp should be placed on a stand to shine and illuminate. Flowers should bloom at the right time to release their fragrance, and people should seize opportunities to create. Opportunity knocks but once. Time waits for no one. Life is short. One cannot passively avoid the world, lingering and hesitating in wait and observation. Lost time can never be retrieved, and missed opportunities will never come again. Every day, every moment is a part of life. One must not let idleness and emptiness occupy the precious space of life. Though the pigsty may be large, it cannot offer a view of the scenery outside. While one can swim in a pond, it cannot allow one to experience the vast and majestic sea. Surrounding oneself with walls may enable survival, but it cannot let one appreciate the diverse wonders of the world. Lying in a coffin buried underground may protect one from the cold wind and fierce storms, but it also deprives one of the myriad joys of life. Break through the consciousness of walls and step out of the prison of the mind. Soar like a petrel riding the stormy waves. Integrate your talents and wisdom into the creation of the Life-Genuine era. Let your beautiful and precious life flow into the tide of the new era. Clinging stubbornly to the past cannot save you. Holding on to remnants and defects means regression and death. Conservatism cannot compare to openness. Sticking to the old is not as good as innovation. Waiting is not as good as striving forward. Silent death is not as good as calling out for life. Playing seriously, being serious in play, and constantly striving towards the highest state of life. This is the most vibrant and passionate life. Break through the walls of life and enter the paradise of celestial being life. Break through the walls of the family and enter the home of universal love. Break through the walls of religion and political parties and enter the deeper sanctuary of Life-Genuine. Break through the walls of the nation and enter the homeland of life. Most importantly, break through the walls of the mind and soar freely toward infinite freedom. Courageously venture into mysterious and unknown realms, explore the wonders of the vast universe, experience the charm and joys of another form of life, and feel the vast and boundless spiritual realm and the magical thinking melody of creating something out of nothing. Live every moment with boundless freedom, passion, and joy. As long as you break through, you will see a whole new world. 天人合一，同频共振. Unite with heaven. Resonate at the same frequency. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. As long as there is motion, there is vibration. As long as there is vibration, there is frequency. Where there is frequency, there is rhythm and regularity. Things that share the same frequency can resonate with each other, mutually enhancing, developing, and growing stronger. Conversely, things with different frequencies can suppress, cancel out, or even destroy each other. The softer something is, the easier it is to adjust its frequency and resonate. The harder something is, the more likely it is to become rigid, resistant, and opposed to resonance. Mountains and rocks can be easily destroyed, but water and air are difficult to break. The more adaptable a life form is to change, the greater its chances of survival. Life forms that cannot adapt to changes in their environment and rigidly adhere to their rhythms are prone to collapse and extinction. This applies to bacteria, plants, animals, and humans alike. Halley's Comet visits Earth every 76 years. This is its rhythm, its regularity, its vibrational frequency. The Earth orbits the Sun every 365 days. The Moon orbits the Earth every 29.5 days. Adult women experience menstruation. Seasons change on schedule. Day and night alternate. Waking and sleeping follow a cycle. Migratory birds move at regular intervals. Tides rise and fall predictably, and the heart beats 60 times per minute. All of these are examples of rhythm and frequency. People whose biological rhythms or frequencies are not suited to high-altitude environments may experience altitude sickness. People who live in areas with low humidity struggle when they move to drier climates. Those who travel long distances across time zones may suffer from jet lag. A Muslim suddenly living among Buddhists might feel uncomfortable, and even someone from the north of a country might find it difficult to adjust to the diet in the south. Have people noticed that everyone has a relatively stable circle of life? Although we live in a vast sea of people, we prefer to live in small circles where the culture and customs are the same or similar to our own. It's difficult to break out of this circle. Abroad, these cultural circles become especially pronounced, with Indians tending to stay together, Chinese people often associate with other Chinese, white people frequent predominantly white clubs, and black people tend to gather in predominantly black entertainment venues. Even in a university, students from the same province are more likely to bond with each other. The force behind these unconscious behaviors is frequency, biological frequency. Why do you like someone? Because their frequency matches or is similar to yours. Why do they dislike you? Because your frequency doesn't resonate with theirs. When frequencies can't resonate, there is no harmony, and without harmony, peaceful coexistence is impossible. To thrive, you must strive to resonate with your surroundings. Frequencies can be adjusted. To ensure that a large symphony orchestra plays beautiful, harmonious music, all the instruments must be tuned to the same pitch and frequency. To function effectively within a group and make a significant impact, each person must also tune their mind and thinking frequency accordingly. Biological entities that stubbornly adhere to their own frequencies, ignoring changes, either struggle through life or head towards self-elimination and destruction. What I'm trying to say is that everything is undergoing significant changes. Suppose the sun suddenly rises in the west. Suppose the sea suddenly becomes land, or land becomes sea. Suppose nations, religions, political parties, and families suddenly disappear. Suppose the sun, moon, and stars suddenly lose their light. Suppose natural disasters occur frequently. Suppose hospitals suddenly vanish, transportation and communication suddenly cease, or you suddenly lose all contact with your loved ones, friends, and familiar people. Could you handle it? I know some compatriots who refuse to eat Western food, saying it's unpalatable and that it upsets their stomachs. There was a man in his 30s who, after living abroad for 6 months, one day cried bitterly. When asked why, he said he missed home and his children. Another friend constantly wore a gloomy expression because he couldn't stand the smell of foreigners. A colleague mentioned feeling oppressed in Zimbabwe because of the abundant trees and said he preferred living in Jaiguan Pass, where the vast Gobi Desert offers a broad, open view. I've noticed that people today are extremely fragile, unable to withstand any shock or setback. Modern people can't enjoy the comfortable life our ancestors had 2,000 years ago. Without tap water, they complain. Without public transport, they curse. Without electric lights or phones, they grumble. Without air conditioning or TV, they get irritated. The more comfortable life is, the more fragile people become. The more freedom they have, the less they can tolerate criticism. If things don't go their way, they abandon themselves to despair, self-pity, and self-loathing. If someone's words are even slightly careless, unintentional from the speaker but taken to heart by the listener. They sulk, throw tantrums, demand independence, seek division, or either remain silent or fly into a rage. They judge others by their own standards. No one can help. Fragility is not the same as softness. I hope people can be soft, not fragile. Softness can adapt to various frequencies, but fragility leads only to death. The unity of heaven and humanity doesn't just mean heaven-human resonance, heaven-human oneness, or heaven-human holography. It also means adapting to the changes of heaven. We can't always expect heaven to conform to human desires. Instead, we should consider how humans can align with the will of heaven, resonating with the changes in the Tao. If it rains, crying won't help. If it snows, shouting is useless. One must adapt to the changes of heaven. The stars are awakening. Consciousness must change. The frequency of the heavens is going to change, and people should enter life genuine. All religions will unify into one uniform belief. This is the trend of the times, and we must adapt. We must change the frequency of our minds. If our frequency does not change, the fate of the dinosaurs serves as a warning. Bitter medicine is good for illness. Honest advice is good for life. I earnestly and with sincere care call out to people, the great power is coming. Hurry up. The gate to heaven is as narrow as a seam. Follow the guide to your future, and don't look around, left or right. To resonate with heaven is the true path. 人生的参照系和坐标系 The reference frame and coordinate system of life. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. After reading Dan Xin's Recreating Reality, a direct hit on the frame of reference, I suddenly gained some insight. Dan Xin mentioned, whatever frame of reference you establish, your life will correspond to that. The relationship between a person and the world will be shaped accordingly. This is indeed the truth. Life must have a frame of reference. The kind of reference frame one adopts will determine the kind of life one leads. When we observe human society, we find that people are grouped together, and the primary factor that determines these groupings is the frame of reference. People with the same frame of reference tend to cluster together, while those with different frames of reference find it difficult to integrate. What frames of reference exist in human society? The Bible, the Quran, Buddhist scriptures, the Tao Te Ching, science, wealth and fame, the theory of evolution, New Age concepts, Marxism, and Mao Zedong thought. These are all different frames of reference. If we classify them another way, the greatest creator, gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, humans, life, natural society, human society, time and space, non-material, and so on are all frames of reference. Christians take the Bible as their frame of reference. Muslims take the Quran. Buddhists take the Buddhist scriptures. Communist Party members take Marxism and Mao Zedong thought. Merchants take wealth. Politicians take power. Scholars take fame. And ordinary people take daily survival as their frame of reference. The ignorant have no frame of reference. A frame of reference is crucial. Choosing the wrong one can lead to a lifetime of regret and endless harm. One misstep leads to eternal remorse. So, what is the best frame of reference? What standard should we use to establish our life's frame of reference? I believe that the best frame of reference is one that allows people to live a life of value, meaning, joy, and happiness while also giving them hope, enthusiasm, drive, and vitality, and enables them to transition from the human world to heaven. I believe life genuine is such a frame of reference. With a frame of reference, one can then enter a coordinate system. Bacteria, insects, wild beasts, birds, fish and tortoises, flowers, plants, domestic animals, the ignorant, the worldly, the mortal, sages, celestial beings, Buddhas, gods. These all represent different coordinate systems. The Life of Chanyuan members, the Chanyuan Celestials, use celestial beings as their coordinate system. The kind of reference frame you adopt will shape the life you lead, and the kind of coordinate system you choose will determine the quality of your life. Let us take Life of Chanyuan as our frame of reference and celestial beings as our coordinate system, as we move toward the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world. 相生相克保持平衡 Mutual generation and restraint maintain balance. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. Balance brings blessings. Excess brings misfortune. The coexistence of mutual generation and restraint is the essence of peace. This is true for the universe, and it should also be true for human life. I have studied the five elements theory and was once fascinated by fortune-telling for others. I discovered that the ancient Chinese wisdom is profound and mysterious. What is often dismissed as nonsense and superstition by the secular world actually contains the crystallized wisdom of our ancestors, who deeply studied the laws of the universe and the trajectory of life's blessings and misfortunes. Due to our ignorance, we have foolishly thrown away these gems of wisdom into the trash, while modern people are intoxicated by the dazzling surface phenomena of a commercial society or merely use the wisdom of the ancients as a means to make money through fortune-telling, completely ignoring the vast and profound knowledge about the universe and life left by our predecessors. The five elements, metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, mutually generate and restrain each other. Wood generates fire, fire generates earth, earth generates metal, metal generates water, and water generates wood. The five elements also restrain each other. Metal restrains wood, wood restrains earth, earth restrains water, water restrains fire, and fire restrains metal. Only through mutual generation and restraint can all things develop harmoniously and be peaceful forever. Any extreme development not only harms the rest, but inevitably leads to its own demise. This principle applies to nature, and human society should be the same. The reason why the United States, a country with only a few hundred years of history and a mixture of races and cultures, can become a world superpower is mainly because it conforms to the principle of mutual generation and restraint. Their administration, legislation, judiciary, religion, and civil organizations are like metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, mutually generating and restraining each other, enabling harmonious and vigorous development and making them invincible. On the other hand, China, with its 5,000-year cultural history, has experienced continuous wars, movements, and widespread discontent and anxiety throughout its history. The root cause lies in the violation of the principle of mutual generation and restraint. National affairs are not the concern of us Life-Genuine. What we care about is how each individual can live a happy and fulfilling life. From the 8 characters fortune-telling, I have glimpsed some mysteries. The so-called 8 characters fortune-telling involves converting a person's birth year, month, day, and hour into the heavenly stems and earthly branches, then converting these into the 5 elements, and finally using the principles of mutual generation and restraint of the 5 elements to calculate a person's future lifespan, fortunes, merits and demerits, success and failures. This method of fortune-telling is highly scientific and reasonable and is a profound subject. I studied it for 2 years and found that its mysteries are beyond the understanding of anyone who is not highly learned and wise. Mechanically fortune-telling is undesirable, but what is desirable is to provide timely guidance based on each person's 5 elements. This guidance is essentially about changing a person's life trajectory, but changing a person's life trajectory is no easy task. It involves a series of personal factors. Not only must one consider the person's 5 elements attributes and the positions of the 8 trigrams, but also the changes in the times, the changes of the moment, and the 5 elements attributes of others connected to the person. One must also consider the person's beliefs and psychological activities. If any of these factors are ignored, fortune-telling guidance may have negative consequences or even disastrous results. Therefore, I no longer dare to tell fortunes. One universal insight I've gained is worth sharing. Fate lies in balance, and a life that has lost its balance will inevitably lead to sorrow and disaster. In Revelation chapter, Article 29, The Priorities and Urgency of Life, I gave a brief explanation of what are the priorities and urgency of life from a macro perspective of life as a whole. From a micro perspective, each stage of life has its priorities and urgencies, and even each day has its priorities and urgencies. Ignoring priorities and urgencies and spending much time on what is secondary and trivial can lead to distress at any time. So maintaining balance is crucial. The reason why the 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth can exist forever is mainly that they can mutually generate and restrain each other, maintaining balance. Balance is perfection, smoothness, harmony, and the law for the permanence of life. If a person's 5 elements attribute is mountain fire, and if their relatives have a predominantly fire attribute, and they live in the southern part of the country. This indicates that the fire element is too strong. If they encounter a fire year, fire month, fire day, or fire hour, the fire will inevitably burn fiercely. The external manifestation could be illness, disaster, or even sudden death, unexpected misfortunes such as illness or car accidents. At this time, traveling to the north to visit relatives, or being with a few people whose five elements attribute is water, especially those whose attribute is heavenly water, can alleviate the severity of the situation. Giving flowers, crops, and trees the right amount of water will make them grow well, but soaking them in water will inevitably drown them. Therefore, more is not necessarily better. Moderation is best. People generally resent those who restrain them, wishing to destroy them. A powerful and corrupt person hates party discipline, hates media interviews, and hates the freedom of speech of the common people. They see the factors that restrain them as enemies, and the inevitable result is that they will fall when they are at their peak. Aside from emotional factors, parents, spouses, children, etc., are the restraining factors on a person's path of cultivation. But it is precisely these restraining factors that prevent a person from going to extremes and from going mad. Attending school, working, and participating in social activities are also restraining factors on the path of cultivation. These restraining factors provide us with opportunities for cultivation and excellent opportunities for insight. Good fortune hides within bad, and bad fortune lurks within good. Appropriate help or harm to others is beneficial, while excessive help or harm will lead to disaster. Conclusion: when the direction is right, every step is an elevation. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth mutually generate and restrain each other. As for the myriad affairs of life, one should go with the flow but never go to extremes. Do not seek possession, but seek balance. Do not seek fame, but seek inner peace. Do not seek intensity, but seek emptiness and elegance. 破坏与创造, destruction and creation. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. Refusing to grow means stagnation, rigidity, and death. Without a series of deaths, life loses all its meaning. The silkworm breaks out of its egg, bathes in sunlight, gentle breezes, and dewdrops, busily feeds on mulberry leaves. It continues to grow, shedding its skin twice in a complete transformation, producing golden or silvery silk. Then it spins a cocoon, transforming itself into a pupa. After a period of cultivation and practice, it changes its life structure and finally breaks out of the cocoon, emerging as a butterfly, fluttering gracefully among flowers and trees, fully enjoying the splendor of life. The eggshell, old skin, and cocoon are forms of protection, but they are also constraints. Only by continuously creating and then destroying can a brand new life form be born, soaring freely in the vast mountains and rivers. Isn't human life just the same? Family, ethnicity, nation, religion, and political parties are like the eggshell and cocoon. Initially, they protect, but later, they become restraints and shackles. If the silkworm does not break the shell and abandon it, it will die within it. Even if it does not die, it will remain forever curled inside, unable to enjoy the joy of becoming a butterfly. Constantly dying and being reborn is the meaning of life. Continuously creating and destroying is the meaning of human existence. This is a new way of thinking, a new way of life, a sage's view of life, a saint's worldview, a divine perspective on life, and the greatest creator's view of the universe. Every day, as the bright sun breaks through the morning mist and rises in the east, the crystal-clear dewdrops on the leaf tips gradually evaporate in the morning light, and a new day begins. The earth is filled with fresh vitality. New things continuously rise, the ocean sings in the waves, the green branches sway gracefully in the breeze, joyful birds soar freely in the blue sky, and flowers bloom proudly in the fields and mountains. How marvelous life is, with the songs of birds and swallows everywhere, brimming with vitality, streams murmuring, and green waves rippling. Yesterday has passed. Beside the dying boat, 1,000 sails pass. In front of the sick tree, 10,000 new trees spring up. We should embrace new life, face the morning glow, enjoy the fresh breeze, carry a basket, and happily pick the mushrooms of happiness that belong to us. This is an active life, a diligent life, a life full of vitality, and also a life of joy and happiness. We keep on trekking, keep moving forward, heading toward the light, toward the future, toward a new life, toward the boundless space and time of life, advance together, singing and dancing joyfully. Clinging to the past is the worldview of the passive and lazy. Restricting the pursuit of freedom and happiness is the devil's worldview. Obstructing others' joy and happiness is the narrow and selfish mindset of the petty, and attacking and destroying others' joy and happiness is the perverted moral view of the malformed. Every man is a unique new landscape, and every woman should at least get to know 10 men in her lifetime. Every woman is a fresh and beautiful scenery, and every man should love at least 10 women in his lifetime. Keep the good ones, discard the bad ones in time, and then seek new scenery. The pursuit of freedom and happiness in love is a legitimate right granted by the greatest creator. Why not love? Why not pursue? Why live such a burdened life? In the end, isn't it just a trip to the crematorium? Don't cry and say, I haven't lived enough, or blame the heavens and earth, saying, I've lived too miserably. No. Say, I lived a free and fulfilling life, with no regrets. I lived according to the emotions the greatest creator gave me, with flavor, with affection and righteousness. Everyone should enter some religion or political group for baptism and experience, but don't get so deeply involved that you can't get out. Religion and political groups are like protective shells and cocoons. Only those who can enter and exit freely can transcend. If you can enter but can't exit, you will die in them, losing the qualification and opportunity to appreciate the wonders of the world. This is why Life Genuine insists on being friends without forming factions. Everyone belongs to a certain ethnicity and country, but ethnicity and country are also protective shells and cocoons. If we regard these shells and cocoons as our eternal protectors, then we live too narrowly, too boringly, too selfishly, and too conservatively. If our hearts are broad enough, we will appreciate all the ethnicities and countries in the world, befriending brothers and sisters of all ethnicities, and being friendly neighbors with sages and common folk from all countries. Blind arrogance in nationalism and statism is an obstacle and enemy to human happiness. Those who put the interests of their ethnicity and country above all are narrow-minded frogs in a well, pitiful creatures. A person with a healthy mind will not limit their life vision to a narrow valley but will look beyond hills and mountains, toward the future, toward the whole world, to appreciate countless sceneries and styles. Therefore, we must constantly destroy fixed ways of thinking, destroy traditions that shackle human nature, destroy the old shells and cocoons that once protected us, destroy decayed morals that hinder the pursuit of freedom, and destroy all shackles that prevent us from enjoying life's joy and happiness. So, we must constantly create new ways of thinking, create new lifestyles, establish new views of life, the world, life, the universe, and morality, and open up the era of Life Genuine that humanity has long dreamed of. The me of yesterday has already died. I no longer cling to what is past. The me of today is a new me. I am willing to create and enjoy the present life to the fullest. The me of today will also die, and I will embrace tomorrow without hesitation, full of hope to welcome the arrival of a new day. Constantly dying, constantly being reborn, constantly destroying, constantly creating. Changing the structure of life, sublimating the quality of life. New life will always belong to us. 两条平行线相交于一点. Two parallel lines intersect at one point. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. Euclidean geometry asserts that two parallel straight lines can never intersect. Einstein, considering the perspective of the universe, hypothesized that two parallel lines might intersect, but he did not provide proof, and to this day, scientists have not been able to prove it. Euclid proved the parallel line postulate from the perspective of a two-dimensional plane. Even in three-dimensional space, Euclid's parallel line postulate holds true and cannot be overturned. Assuming that the multiverse theory in quantum mechanics string theory is accurate, even in such a scenario, two parallel straight lines cannot intersect at one point. Einstein reasoned that massive objects could cause space to deform and curve. When light encounters an object with sufficient mass, gravity prevents it from traveling in a straight line. So two parallel lines might intersect at a certain point due to this curvature. Therefore, he believed that Euclidean geometry might not be a universal principle. Some scientists consider time as a dimension, and this has scientific reasoning because any object undoubtedly exists within time and evolves with the passage of time, unable to escape time's palm. However, scientists view time with conventional thinking. Although, according to the principles of general relativity, time can also deform. This deformation does not allow two parallel lines to intersect at one point because the two parallel lines would deform simultaneously and remain parallel after the deformation. According to the principles of black holes, two parallel lines may simultaneously terminate at a certain point in time, but this does not cause them to intersect at one point. The holographic theory of the universe also cannot prove that two parallel lines will intersect at one point. According to holographic theory, two parallel straight lines carry the same information and are equal. Once formed, they will continue to move forward in parallel along a fixed trajectory. However, in the unified field theory of the universe, two parallel lines will intersect at one point. So, what is the unified field theory of the universe? Scientists have been debating this, which is why the unified field theory has yet to be established. So how can I say that two parallel lines will intersect in the unified field theory of the universe? Scientists believe that there are only four fundamental forces in the universe: electromagnetic force, gravitational force, strong nuclear force, and weak nuclear force. But relying on these four forces alone cannot establish the unified field theory of the universe. According to the uncertainty principle of quantum mechanics, people realize that the motion state of fundamental particles, wave-particle duality, is related to the observer's method of observation. From this, some individuals who are not scientists but may belong to the category of scientists who are non-scientists realize that consciousness is related to the movement of matter. Thus, some have tried to incorporate the force of consciousness into the unified field theory, although this still does not constitute a complete unified field theory. I will briefly discuss the unified field theory of the universe in the chapter of Preaching Tao. For now, I will provide proof from the perspective of time and space to demonstrate that two parallel lines will intersect at one point. First, it is necessary to clarify that the traditional concept of time is incorrect. The idea that time flows uniformly is not in accordance with reality. The belief that time is unidirectional is also not entirely correct because time is a recorder of the motion state of matter. Time arises from the movement of matter, and its speed is closely related to the speed and mode of matter's movement, as well as the space in which the matter exists. Therefore, time does not flow uniformly, but is constantly in motion and change. Furthermore, because matter can annihilate instantaneously, entering another space-time, it leads to the creation of lateral time. Hence, time does not only have a vertical property from past to future, but also a lateral property. Euclidean geometry is an abstraction of reality. To make two parallel lines intersect, we restore the abstraction to a concrete image and then observe whether they can intersect. Two parallel trains are an example of parallel lines. In a two-dimensional plane and three-dimensional space, they cannot intersect. They cannot collide with each other. If they collide, it no longer falls within the scope of the parallel line postulate. However, there is a scenario where this could happen. Two parallel speeding trains are suddenly drawn into a lateral spacetime. Because the time they are drawn into differs by just 1 second, their trajectories change slightly, resulting in a collision. This is somewhat like two distant scenes intersecting due to the mirage phenomenon. Of course, this still doesn't fully explain Einstein's thinking. If Einstein were still alive, he would inevitably reach this conclusion. In the universe, there are no parallel straight lines that do not intersect or separate. Even if two parallel lines have the same mass and information, space has planes of intersection. At these spatial intersections, they can no longer run parallel. Moreover, as long as there is distance in space, the forces acting on the two parallel lines cannot be equal, and these forces will inevitably cause the trajectories of the two parallel straight lines to change, thus separating or intersecting. Two strangers sitting on parallel seats in a moving car constitute two parallel lines. A sudden car accident occurs. One person dies, the other survives. They do not intersect. The deceased is drawn into lateral space-time. A few days or years later, the survivor suddenly has a dream in which he sees himself sitting in the seat where the deceased once sat, and the two parallel lines, intersect. Or, years later, the survivor also dies and is drawn into the same space-time. They meet again and even become a married couple, resulting in an intersection. The conclusion is, there are no parallel lines that do not intersect or separate. 获取无穷无尽能量的奥秘. The secret to acquiring infinite energy. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qinyu. A room filled with air can only hold so much, and if the doors and windows are sealed, the air will become stale. However, if there are windows on the north and south sides of the room, and they are opened, fresh air will continuously flow in and out. The larger the windows, the stronger the flow of energy. Can this fresh air ever be exhausted? Never. It is inexhaustible. A businessman's secret to making money lies in the rapid circulation of his capital. The faster it circulates, the more money he makes. The slower it circulates, the less he earns. If he holds onto it tightly without letting it circulate, that capital becomes dead, and not a single penny can be earned. A beloved singer earns respect and honor by continuously performing for people. The more they sing, the more honor they receive, and the more they sing, the more active their artistic cells become, leading to ever-improving skills. If they stop singing, their artistic talent diminishes, and they gradually fade from people's memories, eventually falling into obscurity. Wise people are those who continually dedicate their wisdom to others and society. The more they give, the faster they give, the more their wisdom grows, becoming increasingly perfect. The more they release, the more they gain. The more they give, not only does their wisdom not diminish, but their wealth of wisdom actually increases. The more one labors and exercises, the stronger, more energetic, and more vibrant their body becomes. The less one moves and the more they indulge, the weaker their body, the worse their spirit, and the more fatigue they feel. Therefore, the secret to acquiring infinite energy lies in all-encompassing release. The material world and the non-material world operate under opposite laws. From a material perspective, the more one releases, the more energy decreases. But from a non-material perspective, the more one releases, the more energy increases. When Jesus was in the human world, he continuously released, and as a result, the energy he gained was unprecedentedly immense. The same was true for Buddha. Many people in the human world are constantly taking but are stingy in releasing. In the end, they gain nothing and have no energy. The more you give, the more you gain. If you are unwilling to release anything, the result is energy depletion. Jesus revealed this secret to us. For whoever has, more will be given to them. And whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. The more you give, the greater the reward. The less you give, the more you will lose even what little you have. The greatest creator's energy is infinite and inexhaustible. When our soul connects with the greatest creator's spirit, we are actually connected to an ocean of energy, and we possess endless energy. Half an acre of square pond looks like a mirror. The light of the sky and the shadow of the clouds linger together. Ask the canal how it stays so clear, because there is a source of living water. By accepting the endless stream of living water from the source and letting it flow out, the small pond will forever remain pure and fresh, eternally reflecting the light of the sky and the shadows of the clouds. We are in the way of the greatest creator, and every day we absorb the revelations of the greatest creator's Tao. Our wisdom is constantly growing, and the fresh living water flows continuously in Life Genuine. At the same time, we are building Life Genuine by releasing our wisdom. The more wisdom we release, the more wisdom we will gain, exponentially increasing. The wise have said, a hospitable person will never be poor, a thief will never be rich. The more guests you entertain, the wider your sources of wealth will be. The more you sneak and steal, the narrower your path to wealth will be, and you will never become truly rich. Every day, the Chanyuan Celestials offer the gems they find to Life Genuine to entertain the Chanyuan guests. Have we become poor? Has our wisdom diminished? No, not only has it not diminished, but our spirit and soul have become increasingly abundant, and our path has broadened. If I may speak from experience, I release myself daily by writing articles. Have I become poor? No, I have become richer. First, the Oceans of Wisdom in Preaching Tao chapter, the Non-Material World chapter, the Attainment of Buddhahood chapter, Celestial Cultivation chapter, Wisdom chapter, and other texts are endless. Advanced self-improvement, advanced cultivation, the mysteries of life, advanced health preservation, and other yet-to-be-published wisdom reside within me. I am probably one of the richest people in the world. Additionally, the number of Chanyuan celestials is growing, and they are all my brothers, sisters, family, and loved ones. If one day there are 10,000 Chanyuan celestials spread across the globe, my living space will span the entire earth, and I will have homes everywhere. Do you think I am wealthy? Following this reasoning, every Chanyuan celestial has this blessing and is expanding their territory of free living. Just working towards this realistic ideal is worth it. The more you give, the richer you become, not to mention the Life Genuine era and the journey to the Celestial Islands continent. Many people are unwilling to give, selfish, stingy, and unwilling to release even a little energy for the construction of Life Genuine. Have they become rich? I think they are as poor as can be, pitifully desolate, and their final outcome is likely to lose even what they have. Some may secretly rejoice, thinking they can continuously absorb the wisdom of others without giving, profiting from nothing, and making a fortune with no capital. In reality, this is foolishness that blinds their spirit. The world doesn't work that way. When life transforms, judgment is not based on how much one has acquired, but on how much one has given. The so-called hidden dragons and crouching tigers, the so-called reclusive sages, are actually some of the most foolish idiots. If stealing could make one rich, everyone would steal. Who would still be willing to create? Those who feel proud of themselves but lament that no one understands them are, in reality, selfish and self-centered individuals. If you don't give and only calculate your own small benefits, how can you not feel lonely and isolated? Therefore, you must give, you must release. The greatest creator is constantly releasing his energy without ever desiring to possess anything. Who in this universe could be more affluent than the greatest creator? Don't let immediate benefits blind your eyes. Don't let secular values control your spirit and soul. Boldly love those who are worthy of love, and dedicate all you have to those who pursue truth, goodness, beauty, and love, to the brothers, sisters, family, and loved ones in Life Genuine. In doing so, you will receive abundant rewards in the end, karmic rewards beyond imagination. Let us continuously spread the teachings of Life Genuine, inviting the guests of Chanyuan to join in the construction of Life Genuine and the creation of the Life Genuine era. As long as we contribute a little, release a little, we will experience the joy of giving, and the merits we accumulate will be embedded in the structure of our life. That will be our ticket to ascend to heaven, the foundation of transcending the mundane and transforming our beings. It's not about recognizing quality. It's about comparing quality. Everyone can compare and feel for themselves the immense value of Life Genuine. 人生的三大追求, the three major pursuits in life. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. There are three major pursuits in life: knowledge, wisdom, and spirituality. These are the three steps toward becoming a celestial being or a Buddha. Knowledge is the understanding and summary of the material world by people. Wisdom is the sublimation of knowledge, a capability to discern, analyze, and judge the essence and extension of things, as well as the ability to invent and create. Spirituality is the sublimation of wisdom, an ability to communicate with the non-material world. As people interact with the material world, they gradually discover certain laws and gain true insights and experiences during productive practices. These laws, insights, and experiences form the body of knowledge. The purpose of going to school is to quickly master the knowledge accumulated by predecessors without having to experience it all firsthand. Therefore, in elementary schools, middle schools, and universities, what one learns is knowledge. Whether one attains a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree, what is acquired is knowledge. Knowledge is not a capability but a prerequisite and foundation for acquiring capability. A person with abundant knowledge is worthy of respect because, with rich knowledge, one transcends primitive ignorance and lays the foundation for advancing towards civilization. Therefore, the pursuit of knowledge is the primary task in life. A person without knowledge is unreasonable, hard to educate, and unlikely to achieve anything. Teachers in universities, middle schools, and elementary schools possess knowledge. Experienced workers and farmers have knowledge. They are the main mediums for passing on knowledge. Nowadays, computers and the internet are also mediums for transmitting knowledge, as are books, articles, images, videos, television, CDs, and so on. However, possessing knowledge does not mean that one has capability. Only when knowledge is elevated to wisdom does a person gain the ability to discover, analyze, distinguish, and solve problems. Scientists, experts in various fields, engineers, technicians, business managers, successful entrepreneurs, political and religious leaders, all are people with wisdom. Those with wisdom are the driving force behind societal progress and development. The reason why a group of monkeys remains monkeys is that they lack wisdom. The reason why a person, a family, a clan, a nation, or a country remains poor and backward is the lack of wisdom. A person without wisdom does not know where to exert effort, how to use their mind, or how to make effective use of time. Therefore, the pursuit of wisdom becomes the urgent task for those who have knowledge. In other words, after acquiring knowledge, how to apply it to one's production and daily life becomes a matter of deep contemplation. Otherwise, the knowledge is useless. When we buy flour, cooking oil, vegetables, and seasonings at the supermarket, it does not solve our hunger problem. To solve the hunger problem, we must process these ingredients into food, and the ability to do so is the capability to transform knowledge into wisdom. Wisdom can make life full and prosperous, but it cannot solve a person's ultimate worries. Only by elevating wisdom to the level of spirituality can a person gain the ability to distinguish between truth, goodness, beauty, and love, and falsehood, evil, ugliness, and hatred. Only then can one possess morality, clearly understand the direction and purpose of life, communicate with the non-material world, understand the meaning of heaven and hell, and lay the foundation for becoming a celestial being or a Buddha. Among humanity, Buddhist monks, priests, Taoists, imams, and masters possess spirituality. They are the inheritors of spirituality. People like Osho, Oren, Seth, Zhang Hongbao, and Li Hongzhi are pioneers of spirituality. Laozi, Muhammad, Shakyamuni, and Jesus are navigators of spirituality. The Tao of the greatest creator is the source of spirituality. Knowledge and wisdom are unrelated to morality. That is to say, people with knowledge and wisdom do not necessarily possess morality. To possess morality, one must work on spirituality. But if one lacks knowledge and wisdom, it is impossible to open the door to spirituality. Even if one understands a little, it is merely superstition, and one remains clueless, unable to know the next step to take. Concepts like celestials, Buddhas, and heaven can only be illusory longings, and one might even doubt their reality, let alone attain them. Thus, there are three major pursuits in life: the pursuit of knowledge, the pursuit of wisdom, and the pursuit of spirituality, progressing step by step. Is there a way to skip knowledge and wisdom and achieve spirituality directly? In other words, is there a path to directly awaken one's spiritual awareness and reach spirituality without schooling, social practice, life experience, inventing and creation, or participating in religious activities or listening to sermons by masters? The answer is yes. First, see if you can read the celestial book, books with words, reading the heavens, the earth, life, and society, and understanding divine revelations from the phenomena of nature, thereby directly communicating with the greatest creator. Second, see if you have the predestined affinity with celestials or Buddhas and whether you can meet them and be directly enlightened by them, allowing them to guide your life. If you can fulfill either of these two conditions, even an illiterate person can attain spirituality and thus achieve the qualities of a celestial being or a Buddha, not to mention those who possess knowledge and wisdom. A person who often contemplates the ultimate goal of life is more likely to attain enlightenment and spirituality. Those who often wander in life genuine will accelerate their steps towards spirituality. 表象与本质 appearance and essence. 写法 Translation edited by Qinyu. Appearance refers to the surface phenomena of an object, which belong to its material structure. Essence, on the other hand, refers to the true nature of things, belonging to the object's non-material structure. For example, the 7 orifices, hair, limbs, bones, internal organs, etc., are the appearance of a living being, while thoughts, consciousness, mind, and soul are the essence of a living being. Similarly, the mountains, rivers, animals, plants, and weather of the earth are its appearance, while the laws, deities, and other forces that cause these appearances are the essence of the earth. Appearance and essence are two aspects of a thing. They are complementary and form a unified whole. Therefore, the appearance of something truthfully reflects its essence. The appearance changes with the evolution of the essence, and the essence reveals its true nature as the appearance changes. Hence, to understand the essence of a thing, one needs to start with its appearance. By seeing through the appearance, one can recognize the essence. No matter how varied the appearance may be, it still reflects the essential characteristics of the thing. If one fails to see the essence of something through its appearance, it is not because the appearance is misleading, but because of negligence in observation, insufficient data collection, or bias in analyzing the phenomena. In bewilderment, Jiawa Celestial asks, can the appearance and surface phenomena of things reflect the truth or falsity of the inner essence of things? My answer is yes, absolutely. The reason why a person feels pain inside but shows a smile on the outside is due to a temporary distortion of their true nature, reflecting the essence of human cunning. This is not the original nature of a person, but a devilish technique learned later in life. When a child is hungry, they cry. Their appearance and essence are perfectly unified. However, in certain situations, even if an adult is very hungry, they might say they are not hungry at all or show no signs of hunger. This is a phenomenon where true nature has been distorted, a result of improper education and a sign of humanity's decline. Although a person can lie and disguise their true nature, causing others to be misled, with careful observation, their essence can still be discerned from their appearance. By analyzing their speech, behavior, complexion, expressions, and actions over time, one can perceive their true nature. A person can deceive for a time, but cannot deceive forever. A person can deceive some people, but cannot deceive everyone. A person can deceive humans, but cannot deceive deities. Even if someone extremely cunning and treacherous deceives everyone at all times, they cannot deceive themselves. Therefore, their overall appearance still reflects their essence. Humans can continually learn from experience and discover laws from countless appearances. Once it is found that appearance does not match essence, it is possible to understand the alienation of the essence from this discrepancy. Although lying may seem to cover up the essence, it actually truthfully reflects the essence after human nature has been distorted. Buddhism teaches us to recognize our mind and see our true nature, while Taoism teaches us to return to simplicity and truth. The idea is for our appearance and essence to perfectly integrate, so we can become celestial beings and achieve Buddhahood. 给自己的人生定位 Positioning your life. 写法 Translation edited by Qinyu. An ancient saying goes, people aim for higher ground, while water flows to lower places. To this day, I still don't understand where the higher ground is and where the lower places are. The earth is suspended in space, so how do we distinguish between high and low places? If we leave people behind and gradually shrink the earth until it becomes non-existent, everyone would be standing foot to foot, so whose head would be facing down? This is a question of thinking, not one of height or direction. It's much like the ancient belief that the heavens are round and the earth is square, or the sun revolves around the earth. Leaving aside where the water flows, let's talk about people aiming for higher ground. Where exactly is this higher ground? In popular terms, the vast majority of Chinese people understand this higher ground as getting an education, becoming an official, making money, bringing glory to their ancestors, and bringing honor to the country. Look at Chinese history and then examine China's current situation. The core essence of this higher ground is becoming an official. Even if one is a minor official, his position is still considered higher than that of common people. Not to mention county governors, provincial governors, and central government officials. In China, once someone becomes an official for even a single day, they and those around them rise with them. Any truth will always be on the side of the officials. Envy abounds. Even if it's just a section chief, the way they walk, their manner of speaking, the expression in their eyes, and the height at which they hold their head are all different from others. You can't help but respect them, fawn over them, flatter them, and accept them. So, without a doubt, the so-called people aim for higher ground has had its mystery uncovered. It's all about striving to become an official, running for office, trying to be an official, and holding on to that position. All other pursuits are inferior. Only becoming an official is high. What do scholars amount to? Aren't they just there to serve the officials? What does money amount to? If you don't curry favor with officials, who knows when that money might end up in their pockets? I wish everyone could be an official, even a high-ranking one, but unfortunately, even if a 30-person unit has 10 deputy section chiefs, the majority will still be common people. If we set our life's goal on becoming an official, we might never find peace in this life. Telling lies, speaking in empty words, making grandiose claims, deceiving and betraying each other, scheming, and covering things up will become routine. The saying goes, real men have to be ruthless. One can't be an official without deceit. Not taking bribes is a waste, with shifty eyes. If you're honest, serious, and hardworking, yet neither want to be a master nor a servant, then you are not cut out to be an official. You should quickly adjust your life goals and direction. So, how should you position your life? If you have the chance to be an official, I advise you to set your life goal on becoming one. The benefits of being an official are too numerous to count. I could talk about them for 3 days and nights without exhausting the subject. Mastering thick black theory and the art of war should help you get by. If you can't become an official, but you're good at flattery, currying favor, bootlicking, and harboring malicious intentions, then you might set your life goal on being a lackey. This way, you'll be assured of having leftover food to eat and dregs of wine to drink, which is better than being an honest, simple commoner. If you can't become an official through the usual means, you can still aim for it indirectly. Why not organize an opposition party to try to overthrow the current government? If by chance you succeed in toppling the regime, then those positions like ministers, governors, and county chiefs would be as easy to grab as something within arm's reach, a sure thing. How do you overthrow the current regime? Just loudly proclaim democracy, freedom, human rights, and equality, then keep a close watch on the regime's flaws, magnify them, and incite the masses to revolt. Promise them that once you're in power, everyone will be able to eat while sleeping, live in golden houses, and have beauties at their disposal. This way, you'll be successful. Set your life goal on this, and your future is limitless. But if you end up in prison or lose your head, you shouldn't regret it. You can even borrow the compassionate words of Kshitigarbha Bodhisattva, "If I don't go to hell, who will?" to demonstrate your noble righteousness. If you like wealth, then position your life's goal on maximizing profit. Don't bother with things like conscience, morality, and other baseless concepts. When running a business or company, not only must you use your sharp mind, but more importantly, you must maximize the exploitation of your subordinate surplus value. Marx has already elaborated deeply on surplus value. You just need to use it in reverse, and you should be able to make money. Of course, relying solely on surplus value carries risks, so you must focus on 3 areas. 1. Surplus value. 2. Local government and party leaders. And 3. Local thugs. What does this mean? It means you need to oppress and exploit your workers, cozy up to local leaders, including those at the tax bureau, and maintain ties with local gangsters. As long as you have a few tough guys under your command, not only will the common folk not dare to oppose you, but even officials will think twice before acting. If you don't have such abilities, you can still exploit legal loopholes and corruption. If you mortgage a property and get a loan of $100,000 from the bank, don't spend it recklessly. Spend it all on the officials. This way, you can get $1 million more. Spend that on the officials again, and from then on, the sky's the limit and the sea is wide for you to leap. You could grab land, drive out the original residents, and sell the land for a profit. If that doesn't work, Persuade the officials you've bribed to sell you a government enterprise at a low price, flip it, and you'll have a fortune. If that doesn't work, you could always counterfeit liquor or medicine, or rebrand cheap goods with famous labels and sell them for a profit. Or lure rural girls into the city, intimidate them into doing whatever you want, and just make sure you keep the local thugs happy. As long as you pay them off from time to time, no matter how policies change, you'll keep making money. There are endless ways to make money as long as you're clever. If you don't want to dream of being an official or getting rich, you could set your life goal on becoming famous. Birds leave their song and people leave their names. To be famous throughout history, to leave a lasting legacy, is not a bad goal. Even if you end up being cursed for eternity and your name becomes synonymous with infamy, at least you've left a mark. Why not? There are many shortcuts to fame. In today's information age, not only are there countless newspapers, magazines, and books, but TV and radio networks are also interwoven, and the internet is booming. There's a saying that goes, "All the world's writing is a patchwork." It's all about how well you can piece it together. With a little organization and elaboration, borrowing bits from here and there, a scholarly paper can be produced in days, and a book can be finished in months. With a little help from your friends in the publicity department and some promotion by big-name celebrities, scholars, and experts, you can quickly rise to fame. Why care about the old saying, "If words are of no benefit, speak less"? Let's become famous first. Don't bother with original creations. It's too hard. Racking your brains and exhausting your mind is one thing, but dealing with your wife and kids' complaints is another. If, after all that effort, you find that your work was already considered trite, that's a disaster. If no one reads your articles and your books don't sell, you'll be left giving them away for free on the streets. Aside from a few cheap compliments from friends and relatives, you won't gain much fame, and it's just not worth it. To become famous by writing articles, the best trick is to criticize. Criticize ancestors, criticize predecessors, criticize celebrities, criticize government officials, and even criticize your parents. This way, you'll quickly gain recognition. As for the consequences, don't worry about them. Get famous first. In China, the best targets for criticism are Lu Xun, Mao Zedong, and Hu Jintao. Such articles are sure to grab attention. If you don't like that approach, I have another trick for you. Collect strange theories, odd stories, unorthodox methods, gossip, and idle talk from travelers, compile them into a book, and it's guaranteed to be a bestseller. Or, why not strip down and parade around the streets? Who knows, you might even get on TV or go viral on the internet. Fame is so easy to achieve. Isn't this a fast-paced world? If someone can get rich overnight, why can't we become famous overnight? To stand out, you need to use unconventional methods. Didn't they say, "Nothing in the world is difficult for one who sets his mind to it"? If you're determined to be famous, why worry about having no path to follow? If you do not wish to set your life's goals on becoming an official, accumulating wealth, or gaining fame, why not start a gang? If you succeed, you can live a luxurious life, enjoying food,